What it do, too? Welcome back to another installment of Scotty Says. I am your host, and on tonight's episode of As the Basketball Turns, Tales from the Crypto, we are picking up right where we left off last. The Lakers on a 3-game winning streak, looking for a season-high 4 in a row, roll into Minnesota to face the Timberwolves, the same team that blew them out already earlier this season. And COVID striking, running rampant through pro sports, through the LA Lakers, where we last left off. Russ, oh Russ, in COVID protocol, along with Malik Monk, Dwight Howard, and others. But as we tip off in Minnesota, as the lights come up on the basketball court at Target Center, we find out Russ beat the protocols. Russ has outdueled COVID and is available to play for the Lakers. But our hero from the previous episode, Austin Reeves, who hit the game-winning shot in overtime to lead the Lakers to their third consecutive victory, is out of this game in Minnesota with COVID. Health and safety protocols claim yet another victim. And so along with now THT, Monk, and Dwight Howard, the shorthanded Lakers roll into Minnesota, led by the king, the rubber band man, Robin. Just a moment, Batman, my thumb. Minnesota's not that great. They're down a player, Anthony Edwards, their young gun. One of them, they're one of their big two, really, out. Health and safety protocol. And so you think, okay, we are about to witness a very interesting laboratory experiment. We are about to witness some Kentucky on Kentucky crime now. AD, the rubber band man Robin, is going to go straight up against Karl Anthony Towns, the big cat. Mano y mano. Let's see who wants it more, shall we? We shall. Due to the Lakers' ravaged lineup, the big three, Russ, LeBron, AD, are joined by Ken Bazemore and Wayne Ellington in the starting lineup. And away we go. Now, as you know, a subplot to our last episode of As the Basketball Turns was where's Rondo? I've been looking for him for 5-6 games now. Can't find him. I went back and looked it up. He's only played one game in the last 8. Played well, looked good despite having no run, and has DNP'd 6 consecutive games. What? As bad as this team needs stability, you saw the last episode. I'm not going to go back into that, but I'm looking with the Lakers ravaged by injury, with rookies and 10-day signings, emergency health and safety protocol signings being granted by the league. You think, Frankie V, damn, where's Rondo? Because surely, absolutely, without any doubt, he must play tonight, as shorthanded as the Lakers are. Right? They just signed Isaiah Thomas, who I'm glad to see back, by the way, to a 10-day contract, straight out the G League. Rondo's got to play tonight, right? Well, what do I see? But right off the bench now, a player, number 38, Brown, forgive me, Chaundi Brown, D. Brown makes his debut for the Lakers off the bench. And I'm thinking, no, you're kidding me. He's still not going to play Rondo. But right now, this is about the Big Cat versus the Rubber Band Man Robin. AD versus Karl Anthony Towns. Let's get to the lab experiment. Right away, Rubber Band Man Robin still shooting jumpers, see? Floating, float on. That's what he does. He floats, float on. He's like that backup singer in the group with the moves in the background. Float. He never sings the lyrics. He just sings the float, float on. That's his part. Float. The Rubber Band Man Robin, he's a floater. So he's shooting, his standard long-range jumpers. But Karl Anthony Towns is working the paint like a big man should. Can't help but notice the Big Cat is fired up. He's ready to ball. You could tell he has decided he's going to be the man tonight. That he is going to win the Battle of Kentucky. And right away, he gives the Rubber Band Man Robin some business for his chops. And the Rubber Band Man Robin takes one to the jawline. And he bounces and floats, float. But you can see he's checking, is everything still closing, opening? All right, teeth still in, okay. Meanwhile, the Big Cat is roaring, rah, crashing the offensive boards, dunking, making power moves, blocking shots. And even when his shot gets blocked, he gets the rebound and puts it back from long distance, a tray. And then he's dancing back down the court, talking, making himself known, gesticulating, swag, as the kids call it. Meanwhile, the Rubber Band Man Robin, not roaring, he's floating. If you make a comparison, Cat, rah, AD, Cat, rah, AD, such an obvious distinction. And the funny thing about it, Karl Anthony Towns was never known for being an alpha type, okay? In fact, you all remember Jimmy Buckets, little Jimmy Buckets. Now, I say little Jimmy Buckets relatively. To me, he would be a giant. But in the NBA stratosphere, he's a relatively small guy, compared especially to a big man like Karl Anthony Towns. And Jimmy Buckets was, all up on him and all up in him and giving him the business and, challenging him. His will, his want to, his manhood almost. I mean, really, he wanted out of Minnesota. He said he can't win with these type of guys, with the implication being too soft for him. It was ugly. And look at Karl Anthony Towns now, dominating people like the Rubber Band Man Robin. Just a moment, Batman, my ankle. I need a second. The Rubber Band Man Robin got misused, abused, exposed in his brief matchup with Karl Anthony Towns. It was startling, disturbing, and yet not entirely unexpected, at least from this space. And by the day, by the game, it becomes increasingly evident that there is something seriously missing with Anthony Davis. Now, maybe it's physical, maybe it's emotional, maybe it's psychological. I don't know. And I would be out of order to try to speculate from here. Is it this? Is it that? All I can do is report what I see. Because remember, I'm just a guy watching on the couch. I see a fellow who has lost his confidence, lost his way, who seems unenthused, disinterested, no real taste for the competitive nature of it. Playing basketball on the highest level like that, in the NBA, striving for a championship, you gotta deal with people who are in that same space, like Giannis, like Karl Anthony Towns. You know, your contemporary big men. You gotta deal with people who want to be the best, who want to dominate. And you have to want to be the best and want to dominate. I saw none of that from Anthony Davis. I saw someone who pretty much looked like he was just content to get the game over with, because maybe there's something else going on that has more of his focus. But then, well, lo and behold, at the 6:23 mark of the first quarter, what do my eyes behold but Rondo enters the game? What? There's Rondo right there. Why, I will be damned. It's about damn time, Frankie V. And, you know, I'm going to give Rondo a pass in terms of his overall play, because you can't sit out 8 out of 9, 9 out of 10 games, 6 games in a row, and not play and then be expected to come in and just be as sharp as everybody else who's been playing on a regular. And having said that, he still played pretty well. Karl Anthony Towns was fired up for this game. He came to ball. Now, maybe the fact that he was mic'd up because it was a nationally televised game had a little something to do with it, because he did seem like he was doing a little extra. But hell, man, somebody give AD a mic then, if that's all it takes. You know, at the end of the day, you still gotta want to. It's almost like if they gave AD a mic, he'd be like, no, I don't say much, so I wouldn't need a mic, please. It'd be a waste of your air. I'm only going to argue with my teammates, where I don't know why you need to mic that. You'll hear me grunting as I try to flex my thumb. You'll hear the sound of me ducking as people dunk on me. You'll hear me going, hey, ref, as they block my dunk attempt. None of that makes for great TV from my perspective, so I don't need the mic. AD, more turnovers, more missed shots, more sloppy play. And then, of course, an ankle turn. Down he goes. Wait, Batman, holy gee willikers, my ankle. I need a moment. And he hobbles off. And, you know, we've come to see this. It's not entirely exceptional, and he did. He turned his ankle. So AD leaves the game for a while, but with the Lakers scoring so poorly, they only managed 16 points in the entire first quarter. I mean, like with 2 minutes left in the first quarter, they only had 12 points. So, I'm thinking maybe, and again, wishing ill health on anybody, but maybe, AD not being there, maybe that might provide an opportunity for somebody else who wants to compete against Karl Anthony Towns to get out there. Maybe one of these guys they just brought in from wherever, G League, across the street at the rec center. I don't know where the guy came from. Bring somebody in who wants the ball, who wants to compete, who wants to stand up, who wants to block Karl Anthony Towns' shot, who wants to dunk on Karl Anthony Towns. He don't want none of that. It was the float. So I'm thinking, hey, silver lining. Sit down for a while, bro. Stay in the back. Stay in the back. Maybe he needs some downtime, I'm thinking. Just to get his mentals right. And whatever nagging thumb, knee, toe, whatever it is, let all of that stuff kind of get a break. This is what I'm thinking in the first quarter. Out he goes. And then I'm back to the game because Isaiah Thomas appears. And welcome back to the Lakers. Isaiah Thomas, the little big baller. Isaiah Thomas, 5'9", and got mad game. And I hope he sticks around for a long time. I hope he sticks around with the Lakers. I like his game. I mean, anybody who's 5'9", who is renowned in the NBA as a baller, you have to have nothing but respect because that's a big man's game. And Isaiah Thomas ended up as the Lakers' leading scorer for the night, as fate would have it, which sort of also tells you something about how the game went, foreshadowing. And thanks to Karl Anthony Towns, Minnesota dominates LA on the glass. And then AD does wobble back into the game with 3:30 left before the half. So my thought at that moment is, I think he said, let me get back in there and get a little more punishment before it gets too late. With the Lakers again looking ineffectual, with the King quiet, with AD floating, the big cat, roaring, dominating, both on the glass and scoring. The LA Lakers find themselves down 9 points at halftime. Karl Anthony Towns at halftime, 23 points. So, AD surely, to start the third quarter, is going to come right out and give him some business because he had a chance at halftime to reflect upon the fact that Karl Anthony Towns is putting it on his ass. So now, to start the third quarter, right? The Rubber Band Man Robin is like, no, Batman, let me have him. I'm okay. Let me have a turn at him. And he comes right out. First possession of the second half. Air ball. Air ball. Send that signal right away. No, I'm in it now. I'm watching this live, just going, are you serious right now? More turnovers. Lakers are getting out-rebounded. The energy is low. I give credit to Vogel where I see it when it is due, those rare occasions. And finally, it occurred to him, hey, maybe I need to start doubling Karl Anthony Towns. So that changed the game up somewhat because it threw off his rhythm because he was just having his way. He was just doing whatever he wanted, getting to wherever he wanted to on the floor, shooting whatever he wanted to, rebounding at will, offensive boards, cleaning up the glass on either end, just dominating. But then LeBron shoves the guy, it commits a foul, and the guy falls right into Anthony Davis and bends his knee back. Batman, look what you just did to my knee. Excuse me, I need to go sit down. I need a stretcher. and it didn't look good at all. I mean, and, it's kind of like one thing after the next, but then this one was like, okay, this time, I think this one, he might have to sit down for a while. Now, he is the rubber band man Robin. I give him credit. And usually if he goes off in the back, give him, maybe 10 minutes back there or something like that. And then, maybe they give him something to sip on, a nice cool drink. And he could kind of like take some deep breaths, and then he comes back out. But I was like, I don't know this time. That didn't look good. And sure enough, he did not return. More on that later. The rubber band man Robin is out. But he's been ineffective anyway. Not just this game, but for some time. But maybe it's been getting progressively worse. So it's like, okay, that doesn't really affect whether the Lakers can win or not, in my opinion, at this point in time. So it's just as good a chance of winning without him as there is with him. Maybe it's getting to the point now where maybe the odds are better to win a game if he's not there than if he is. Once diminishing returns go into the negative, if you got foresight, might have to look at that and say, hey, I see what's coming around the bend, okay? Hollering at you now, front office. Palenka. LBJ, because, you're engineering it, It's being engineered by the king in the end result, right? Now, Karl Anthony Towns having decisively won that encounter, goes on to put a hard pick on LeBron, pow, and then dunk, pow. And I'm like, look at this guy, roaring. Minnesota's up 14 at that point, and then it goes to 20. And for all intents and purposes, that's pretty much how it ended. It was a blowout. The second consecutive blowout to this team. To a paltry Minnesota team. And yes, I know, COVID protocols, and the Lakers didn't have Malik Monk or Dwight Howard. Yes, I know, THT wasn't there, and Austin Reeves wasn't there. I know. But with all those guys there, they've been 500. LeBron was there. AD, while he was there, was being mistreated badly. Okay? So, Russ was there, but very, very quiet, in fact. Maybe they toned Russ down so much you can't hear him. Like, tune him back up a little bit. You have got the controls out of sync. Now Russ is whispering. What you say, Russ? So, the Lakers' 3-game winning streak goes down in flames. And now they are 16-14 after 30 games. Just barely above 500. And floundering. And what's coming next for the Lakers? They have the most difficult schedule in the NBA remaining over the rest of the regular season. Let's get to the numbers. LBJ had 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. It was a quiet night. Isaiah Thomas, welcome back, had 19 points. He was a leading scorer. That tells you pretty much what you need to know right there. Russ, 14 points, 3 assists. Turn the dial back up. I can't, Wait, say what? AD, the rubber band man Robin, 9 points. Karl Anthony Towns, 28 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks. cat, the big cat, roared. AD had no roar in him. 9 points. Left game in the third, left knee. He had a right ankle injury in the first that he did return from, obviously. So what's next for the Lakers? Well, we learned this morning that AD suffered an MCL sprain and will be out at least a month, a minimum of 4 weeks. That's 13 games minimum. And then he will be reevaluated. I wish nothing but the best for the health of Anthony Davis, to be sure. And I hope that when he comes back, after being out for a month plus, the hope is that he will have found a new hunger, thirst for the game, a new zest and zeal to play in the NBA, to compete at the highest level, and that he'll go and dominate and live up to the abilities that he's been blessed with. He's been blessed with these skills to be a 7-footer, to have guard-like skills, to be able to do different things, and yet to be content to just be a background singer like one of the Pips. Flute. It's so many people like Isaiah. See, that's why people love Isaiah Thomas. He's 5'9". If he thought like Anthony Davis, he would be working at FedEx or UPS or somewhere. Isaiah Thomas has to have drive, determination, will, fight. Has to. AD, he's just naturally gifted with all these things. He didn't learn how to be 7 feet. It just happened. Floop. Wish him nothing but the best, but I hope that when he returns, he has a newfound appreciation for his position and a newfound energy for the game, because it's sorely missing right now, and it is very, very evident. And congratulations to Karl Anthony Towns, because he's been through a lot. And, the way he was portrayed by Jimmy Buckets and others, and then the things he went through with COVID and the loss of his family members and et cetera, I like the kid, and I'm glad to see that he got the roar now, So do your thing, big cat. Hurrah! But what's next for the Lakers? Well, next up, Chicago. Now, on balance, you think that's a loss, but Chicago, they've been COVID racked as well. So, this will be their first game in 8 days due to COVID, to health and safety protocols, not having enough players to field a team. This COVID thing, it's crazy. People got tired of it. I remember when it first hit, just as an aside, and people were saying it was going to be 2 or 3 weeks or a month. And then I heard a guy say it's going to be at least a year and maybe 2 or 3. And I was like, whoa. And now it'll be 2 years in a couple of months. And it is not over, and it's not letting up, and it's shifting and morphing and coming back harder and stronger. And then you got, all the people with all the, the smarter than the average bear people who want to do it their way. But I digress. What's next for the Lakers? Chicago. And then Phoenix Suns, San Antonio, and then Brooklyn on Christmas Day. Ho, ho, ho. Should be good. I'll be there to watch. But I'm telling you this, things look bleak in Lakerland. Will the King be able to put the Lakers on his back, reach back and find that fountain of youth, and dominate and lead the team to victories despite having no Robin? Will COVID continue to devastate the Lakers in the league? Will we really have to call it the crypto? Will Rondo get to play in another game or two before the All-Star break? Will Frankie V hold on to his job? Will there be trades? The plot lines are just so rich and plentiful. And you know we will continue to monitor the goings-on at the palace formerly known as Staples Center. Now, Tales from the Crypto. Throw me one of these! And until the next episode of As the Basketball Turns, Scotty says subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, my folks, one love.